What is going on, Supra channel? Welcome back, guys. This is part 4 of the 200 horsepower Supra build. What are we doing on this video, guys? We are going to be focusing on everything pretty much front suspension. I'm not going to touch the back. I might leave for another part, but I think there's a lot of things here that we need to cover for the front, including taking off the factory stuff. I'm going to film, that stuff coming off, whatever. It's been there for years and it's been sitting around, so we're gonna get that stuff off. The other thing that I did notice, this car has no undercoating at all, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover up all the areas here. I might cut just like this line from here, all this line under here, just kind of follow this body line and hit it with some auto I think some 3M stuff. I'll get the bottle now, I'll have it there in the back, that I got from the local auto parts store. And put some coating on this, just because it doesn't have any rust or anything, but it just looks very just kind of not too pretty. So I think the undercoating will will help it in some way, and it'll actually look a lot more decent, nice and black under here with all the. So really quick here, guys, I have front rotors, front calipers here, lower arms, upper arms, the Fortune Auto suspension for the front, the boots that we're going to be taking out. We're going to be replacing the ones that are on there now with those, and that box there in the middle is just the brackets, brake pads for the brake for the calipers, that I just got to sort them out between the back and the front, but I will cover it as I go along. I know someone requested like a more detailed install video of the calipers of the Tustin Garage's CTSV brake kit, and I'm gonna go over it so you guys can see how simple it is and how complete the kit is. Alright, so really quick here, we got almost everything out already. Even the lower down there, everything's loose. You guys are watching on time lapse. I'm gonna try to make it out, but we are stuck in this little linkage here, which we did order new. The bolts are seized. There's no way they'll come out. I tried some WD-40. They stripped the Allen side over here. You make a hold with the Allen head and then with the 14. So that's stripped out. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my trusty old grinder here and cut it off. And then once it's outside, I'll shave it clean on both sides. We're not gonna use it either way. We're replacing with a new one, and we'll get this knuckle out, which is pretty much what we need. And I believe this bracket over here for the new suspension, I'm not sure, but I think we do need to use this part down here. So. This is the knuckle here. Let's get this out of the way. Over here, careful with the sensor. So what we're left here is the strut, which obviously we just undo it up here and it'll come out. Sway bar, which sway bar needs to come out to get painted anyway, so I might as well just take out the whole sway bar. Power tools, I usually like doing by hand, but now that we're here, we're not gonna reuse this stuff, so might as well just do it quickly. Sorry, hard to record with one hand, work with the other. 2, and this should just pop right down. Surprised it just didn't come down, but take that out. 3 nuts here. Here. Oh, it's resting on this way. If you pull it out. Alright, so finally got this thing out. It's not too bad. I'm going to clean it up and put it right back on there. got the boot here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this clamp. Fits right over the nut. And this one, we're just gonna slice it, cut it open. Doesn't really matter. You have a Phillips head screwdriver screw here. We just pull this thing out, and then I didn't really notice, but it was cracked. Messing around with it, you can see the bottom. It was cracked, so that's why Nick went ahead and ordered the new ones. So we're gonna go ahead and replace this really quick, and we'll be right back as soon as I get it on there. Then I'm gonna hit it with some brake parts cleaner, clean all this up, tape up the area that I don't want to get some overspray on, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the undercoating on this. This is what I'm using anyway. By the way, I'm sorry. What is it? Rust-Oleum undercoating. Yeah, this stuff you can just pick up at your local auto parts. All right, so I got this side boot on. Check it out. Cleaned it up a bit. Try to put it back the exact same turns that I took it off, so that should be pretty easy. I mean, we have to get it realigned. I'm gonna go ahead now, like I said, clean it. All right, so I blocked off here the area that I'm gonna be doing the undercoating on. Don't judge me, I ran out of blue tape, so I had to make it up with yellow. You can see I cut right here. I'm gonna lay down on my back and do it all around. I'm gonna cover up here so it doesn't go over the engine bay. Even though it's gonna get painted, I don't want it to be harder for the body shop guys to get that stuff out. So yeah, wherever you see the cut here along, that's where I'm gonna, anything inside of that square, I'm gonna be doing the undercoating here. So I'm gonna cover up the hole up here so it doesn't get over the engine bay, and we should be good. Check it out. I haven't removed the tape yet. I might touch it up somewhere, some other little areas, but I think it looks pretty good. I think it dries up pretty quick, so we'll wait a couple minutes and give it another quick touch up. All right, so we're done with the undercoating, and it is getting a little dark, so I want to cover this before I get ahead of myself. So over here we have the Phase 2 Motorsports lower control arm, right side. There's the stock one. You see the two holes here for that cover that I was talking about. So this needs to be swapped over here. Obviously this goes like this. The knuckle needs to be taken off from there. Here the upper control arm needs to be taken off. And this is the cover, the dust shield I was talking about for the brakes. There's 4 you could get to them with a 10mm wrench, and then you need to slice it off to get this cover off the hub here. And obviously this is what we need from here. The hub and that bracket over there, everything else pretty much we're replacing with the Phase 2 Motorsports stuff. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually just go ahead and mount this on, so I can just get rid of some parts here and just actually put it on the car with the factory bolts, with the factory camber bolts, and then I'll switch over that bracket on here once I start moving stuff on. Another day here, guys. So last night, before I closed it out or picked everything up, I was able to install the lower arm here and the upper arm, and I took this piece off. This is what needs to be transferred over for the. This is what holds the bottom strut into the arm here. And I had to cut off here remember the knuckle here on the side that you know stripped out. So that came out, and I believe this goes like this. Yeah, it was like this because the strut or the screws in the back, and then this side here is what holds the linkage here to the sway bar. So we're just gonna give it a quick wipe down before I put it on. But you guys get it just so you can be on video. It's gonna be with the factory bolts. They screw right in there, just like that. That goes there. The strut goes here. Pretty much all I need to do now is just transfer over the knuckle. I gotta cut off the heat shield, the dust shield for the brakes, so the big caliper can fit on there, because it won't fit with the stock one. And then I got to rip off obviously the lower and the upper control arm, and that's the next thing I'm going to do here. So. Hub here, we saw in the time lapse, upper arm, lower arm, got them out. And then the dust shield for the brakes, I simply just put it on my vise, I made like a nice slit here with the grinder, and obviously I'm gonna need both hands. Just pry it open and take this thing off the knuckle. I'm gonna clean it up a bit here and reinstall it. Pretty straightforward. Got the knuckle here, cleaned it up a bit, scraped up the heavy stuff, hit it down with some brake parts cleaner, and air it out with the compressor. What I'm gonna do now is go ahead and put the knuckle on the new arms, and then we're just gonna connect everything here, put the wheel speed sensor on. Check it out, everything's installed. I went ahead and put cotter pins everywhere on all the bolts. Mind you, is top and bottom, so just in case anyone's doing these. Over here on the steering rack, the ABS sensor, I went ahead and used the factory clamps. You have to open them up and use a bigger bolt because the stock one won't close. You do have to open them up. I know there's Ryan from Pure Function used some nice fancier clips, but I guess the stock ones will do, and it's pretty secure and nothing's gonna be moving around, so I will do the job. What's next, guys? The next thing is we're gonna do the strut for suspension, and then we can go ahead and install the caliper. So we got the strut in. It's up to the top. It's not tied down, it's just hand tight. Down here I did bolt it down correctly. Again, these adjustments here, I kind of just put it in the middle. I don't know exactly where it goes. I'll let the alignment shop deal with it after the car is done, then we just get it aligned. We use the factory bolt for the bottom part, and over here I just got to tie in over here with the clamps. But I kind of just have a general idea with the other one. I gave myself 30 turns in here, or 30 of these ridge, the ridge lines. From here I kind of 30, so we could just be even one side with the other, and have somewhere to start. We'll work off from there from the height adjustment. So here's the BBK kit for the right side. We're going to be doing first. Here's your bracket. Obviously, if you flip it around, it's right and left. This is going to go like this. You do need to mount it on the hub itself first before the caliper. So hub first, then caliper. Puppy, can you hold it for me? Just hold it there. Just point over here, please. Here your screw. For this, just put it this way just in case. Put the head this way, just in case you have any clearance issues. All right. So for the actual bracket, we're using the black ones with the pressure washer and the nut in the back. So these hold the bracket in place to the hub. You have two here, and then you have the caliper here, and this is going to go right on these. And obviously you have the bigger bolts here, they're going to go through the back. You have one here and then one in the bottom, and then obviously you have your rotor, and it's pretty straightforward. So the two black ones hold the bracket to the hub, and the two bigger ones, remember, it comes with 4, obviously 2 for each side, to the caliper and then the rotor. So let me go ahead, bolt this down, and I'll walk you a little more so you can see how to install the pads. All right, so here we have the caliper installed. You can see I haven't bolted them down, but this is what it looks like on the back side. Brackets already bolted down. These are the 2 bolts for the caliper. It's pretty straightforward. Remember, your bleeder valves for the caliper have to be on the top side. Also the rotor, if you're not sure, or somebody correct me if I'm wrong, the little fins, you always want them pointing that way when they're rolling forward, so the air can kind of come in at this angle. So if you're ever doubting that, that's the way I would always thought that they go. So yeah, all we gotta do now is just tie down the caliper, and we'll go ahead and put in the brake pads. So for the front brake pads, you have obviously 2 brake pads, 2 pins in the middle passing pin here, which it's the big one that goes through the middle, and then the other pins go here. So first thing is one of the brake pads. Obviously you just slide in like this, push them all the way down, And you have the other side, the same thing. Okay. Let's see here. Let's find its way around. Okay, so this side, this is like this. Again, I'm sorry, I'm recording with one hand. Center. Center. You should just okay, there it goes. It pops in right here. Cross. There you go. And then there's a screw that goes in the back of it. Lock. Now these, it should be goes through the brake pad to the back, all the way through. Actually, you see, because I think I have these wrong. Yeah. Okay. So the pin, the head of the pin, actually goes on the back side. That it's more open, like this. This part down. These things are a little tricky. And then you see this needs to be pushed all the way in. I suggest you get something fine and be very careful, because if you hit the powder coat, obviously you're gonna mess it up. So you got to get something that's right centered, and you hit the pin all the way, and it should come out all the way up. You're gonna see once it bottoms out, you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. Then obviously you have the top one. You do the same thing. This, make sure you push it down. I have this backwards. Alright guys, so the bracket, I did have it flipped around, flipped on backwards, so it's this way. So the ears actually are the ones that hold the pins in place. So the pins, you want them like this, and then the pin goes through it. Obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. Remember, like I said, slide them through, the middle one, and with the nut at the end. And then these, you gotta push them all the way through to the pin. Alright, so here's everything assembled. Remember the pins, this is how you want them flush. And that's how much they stick out in the front, just in case you're wondering. We're now going to go ahead and see, hopefully, if the wheel clears the calipers, which it hopefully does. Looks like we're looking good. Bolt these down all the way just to make sure 100%. Alright guys, so it does look really nice. I know I kind of blocked out the video, but you know how it is. Alright, so bad news, wheel is stuck, does not spin. I was looking at Ryan's video, Pure Function, because I was kind of bummed out and I was looking for answers here. Alright, so for the Phase 2 Motorsports, the lower control arm, they have a different option for the knuckle down here for a big brake kit. Obviously this is what's hitting the rotor here, and that's what's not letting the wheel spin. You can see back here, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, there's still a little gap that needs to be pushed in, so it still hasn't even gone in all the way to what like it should. So obviously when you have a smaller nut here, this is going to move up and it's going to give that extra angle that needs here, the clearance for the nut to clear. But good news is the brakes are super tight, but they do clear. So that is I'm pretty sure it's a reliever for Nick, because he was still in the back of his head that the brakes didn't fit, but they look like they're a super tight fit like my buddies, but they do fit. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the other side apart. Obviously we don't need to get that on film, we did it on this side. It was pretty straightforward, everything was good. We just need to get the bottom knuckle here, which it shouldn't be that hard, because it's just one nut here, and then I believe this whole thing just kind of screws out. Actually, I think you just take out this nut right here and the whole thing would just come off, so shouldn't be that hard. So these are those studs. That's an option for the BBK kit. You can see they're smaller. I gotta see how they go, because okay, this one nut. Okay, so if you can see them, they're smaller than the ones that were on there. So honestly, I don't know how they go yet, but it should be pretty straightforward. I think it's like this. Not sure. Well, I want to mess around with it first, see how it goes, and then I'll explain it. But they're definitely just side-by-side comparison. It's about I want to say, what is that? About an inch shorter, maybe a little less than an inch. So that should give us enough clearance to fit the arm with the rotor in there. All right, let me figure this out, and I'll make sure I'll capture on film just so anybody has the issue. Before we keep going, that's the part number for the smaller studs. The way it goes, kind of put everything already on this side. So the screw looking part goes on the bottom side. There's no cotter pin there, only on the top. But this side is the one that gives you the most clearance. So when it's up against the rotor here, you don't have the longer stud rubbing on the on the rotor like this side, for example, over there. Which when I'm done here, make sure everything's perfect. I want to go back on this side, take the wheel off, and go ahead and change this this stud over here. Check it out. We have the driver's side done. We also went ahead and added the, I believe these are what, white line? Yeah, white line. What do you call these? The end links. Not even sure what they're called. But I just left them on there, so when we do put the sway bar after it's gotten painted, we would just just bolt them on there. As far as rotor and fitment, it's very close. Here, I'm gonna see if push the rotor in. You guys can see now we have the clearance needed for that, so we're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rim on, and confirm that we can spin it freely, just to make sure that this little nut here took care of the clearance. All right, guys, wheel installed. We are good. We got clearance. Nothing's rubbing. It's good to go. Let's go change the back, the other side really quick, and then we'll start on the back. And the back is gonna require more work because we have fenders to cut to fit the back, the wheel, the wide tires in the back. We do have extended studs from ARP that we got to put on. These are some of the parts that I got in. It's a little bit of everything here. There's diff parts, extended studs, all the bearings for the diff, the tranny fluid. Also, we have sway bars from White Line. We're not going to be using the stock sway bars. So, OS Geiken LSD. It's here too. By the way, don't mind that I tweaked my ankle a little bit. I had an injury a couple months ago, not even a couple months ago, like a couple 6 or 8 weeks ago, and I kind of tweaked it again, so that's why I'm wearing the boot just in case. Moving on to the back here now. Got this side lifted here, took the tire off, but we can see this is completely stock, or hasn't been touched. Well, these shocks are not stock. These other ones, I forgot the brand on them, but I know they're not stock. But if you can tell, look, they're pretty broken up there. So that means they've probably seen better days, and you know the rest. What's up, everyone? Welcome back, guys, to another weekend over here. I'm gonna focus here back where we left off last time. If you see here, we took out the caliper, undid the line over here, rotors off. This is what we have left over here on the Supra. We're gonna be doing, or at least this side, I'm not gonna cover both sides, no purpose of that. The upper arm here, lower arm, the strut with the new suspension, the BBK kit, the install on the back part, how to get rid of this shield here. I believe we also have these arms new, and yeah, we're gonna clean this up a little bit over here, and I'm gonna hit it with some of the underneath coating that we did in the front, so it at least looks somewhat decent. So we gotta clean this up first, and then we'll get to the coating. We also gonna cut the fenders on this side from here, not all the way out, but you know, make it as thin as possible so we can fit the white tire in there. We got to do ARP studs as well. They're in here. And what else are we leaving off? So let me pretty much take everything off on this side, and then we'll so we put it back together. We'll go step by step on how to put it back, and you know, if there's any setbacks along the way, we'll check. All right, guys, wanted to mention this side, unlike the front that has the 4 10mm bolts on it, and then you got to cut, you know, slice it to kind of get it off the hub here. It's actually riveted on from factory, so you have to slide a screwdriver in there with a hammer and pry them out, and then you slice it and you take out the shield in the back. So let me see if I can have, you see, so it's actually, looks like it's kind of glued on there, but it's just spot welded or riveted on, you know. I think there's like 6 of them throughout the whole hub in the back. I took out the first one here. You can see it's riveted on. And it's actually not together, so once you take them all apart, this whole thing will just come off. So I'm actually doing the next one here. So you see it's not that hard, it's just a flathead and a hammer. Kind of just got to go around it and you know, do your thing. So yeah, you can knock it out of the way because it's not going to be used. Check it out. We have stripped everything down here except the upper arm here. I did install the ARP extended studs already. Here's stuff we took out. I have everything laid out back here. The strut, the suspension arms over here. Remember, I'm missing the upper. And then over here I separated everything by side, so I kind of have an idea of what we need here. These 3 arms here, obviously 1, 2, 3 are 3 over there with a strut, and then the upper, which hasn't been removed yet, and then we have the caliper. So I'm getting ready to cut the fenders here. I've done this before. This is probably like my 5th or 6th time doing it. I like to tape off what I'm going to take off. I'm not going to go too aggressive on this car. He's running a 315, so it's not going to be a crazy white setup. So 315 should get him, you know, should get him, this should get him plenty of clearance for the 315. Either way, once I cut this off, I can sand a little more with a, you know, with a thicker disc, and it will cut it down more. We're not too worried about the paint outside because the car is getting painted. So before you go little by little, because it gets hot, put like a rag down here, wet, you know, let it cool off so it doesn't burn into the paint. But in this case, since we're not too worried about the paint, we're just kind of gonna go. So this is what we took off. This is what it looks like. Obviously now I'm gonna take the tape off and get the thicker disc, and obviously smooth it out, take all the sharp edges off, and wherever I missed a little bit of you know, of my target, I'll smooth it out with that. Another day here installing the rear and suspension. We have everything installed. I'm just literally just mocking up the BBK kit so I could walk you guys exactly how to put it on, because the back is a little more it's a little more complicated, and it does take a little modifying. First of all, the ring that it comes with, it goes right inside the hub with anything in there. Just, that's a spacer that goes on there. The caliper, the way it goes, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it backwards here. I'm going to take everything off. So here, I'll spring the screw. All right, so the caliper comes off. All right, caliper's off, and this is the way the bracket goes. And there's no left or right. He doesn't include that, but so you can know, it's not gonna, there's no left or right. So okay, so if you're holding it like this is the other opposite side. Obviously the one that has this hook down here goes in the bottom. That's gonna take the short screw with the nut at the end of it. That's at the nut of it. That's gonna be attached already. And then this screw here, there's an empty hole here on that bracket. That's a passing bolt, and it screws on to this part of the caliper here. The top goes through the bracket and through the factory bracket, and that goes to the caliper. Now here's where it gets tricky. Okay, let's say we put on the caliper, right? Mind you, without the rotor. All right, I'm gonna bolt it down. Look, you guys can see the hole here. Hold on a second. I'll have one hand. Okay. All right, that's on there. Now, if I try to screw on the top here, for some reason, all the kits that are done are never 100% perfect. I'm not bashing him. I know the powder coating increases, and then obviously he's got to eat away here so he could make the caliper fit. So it's not 100%. So what we got to do here is grind off this little area here on top, not on the caliper because it's going to mess up the coating. And then back here, I don't think you're really sacrificing anything. You're just giving it a little extra clearance so you can get that bolt to screw on. Now, the other part that needs modifying, if you're really going to grind it off, is the top part of the shoes. On here, on here, on here on the side, all around on all four corners. Just this, not the whole lip, but most of it, the lip here. Because even with the spacer, when you put in the rotor, it will touch all the way to the back. It goes in all the way, and it will touch here, and it will not let the rotor spin. It's gonna cause it not to spin. So you got to eat away all this area over here, and obviously up here, so we could get the clearance that we needed for the caliper. So I'm gonna go ahead, get all that sorted out. We don't have to do the bottom. The bottom is fine. It's just up here, and then we'll put everything on and see the final how it goes. But I just wanted to touch you guys. These are points to look at that they need modifying. Again, all three kits that I've done for the rear have all needed the same issue, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but just kind of like it's just something that needs to be done. All right, so let me just take this off, and then I'll grind it, and then I'll show you guys how it is. Before we mount the rotor, I wanted to show you guys how much we took away off the backing plate here. You don't have to go that crazy, but I always experienced in the past how we gotta keep grinding and grinding. So this time I went a little extra just so I could save myself the headache. But this is a fair amount. Obviously the back plate, with the aftermarket rotor is not really doing anything on as it did in the factory form. So as you can see here, bolt is on, bottom bolt is on. And then remember, the bottom one is the one that has a nut. So now, get out. This is what we did to the end of the shoes here. So you can see all around, even on the bottom, so we could give it that extra clearance. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and mount everything, and here's the final install. As you can see here, it's spinning. One thing that I did have to do, that I'm going to reach out to Tustin Garage. It's the brake pad. I'm not sure if maybe he switched the manufacturer or what, but this one was very tight, and I had to kind of grind it down here so it wouldn't hit the end here of the rotor here, of the rotor hat. So it's there, it's exact, but I had to make the clearance for it. Just wanted to share that, since just in case anybody buys a kit and runs into the problem, I did have to shave off the end there of the pad. Again, I think I did about 50 turns in here, just so I could have like a start, base here. And I'm gonna go ahead now and install the wheel. Obviously, look, e-brake is on. You see it works. E-brake's off. Spins. We are good to go here. All right, guys, welcome back here. Another clip. Man, as you do this, for like 3-4 weeks, and you start adding clips together, then when I was editing, I kind of noticed I didn't give like a an after result after the fender cutting here. So here, check it out. This is what it looks like. Obviously the car is jacked up. I'm working on the other side of it, so it looks a little off, but here you can see what everything installed with the brake and the caliper and everything. All the clearance is perfect. Everything spins fine. Here's the fender. Remember, when you roll the fenders, it still gives you like a thickness from the actual metal being folded up. So that's factory metal is about good inch that goes inside, so that's why the wheel rubs on there. And everybody says you got to roll the fenders, you got to cut them. Cutting, I know, it's a lot more hard, you know, it's a lot more harsh on the paint, and then people are scared of corrosion. You know, obviously I live in South Florida, I'm not too worried about that. Here, I'm trying to see how much, so you can see how much thickness there is left. I'll say is maybe like not even like a pencil size, you know, like the thickness of a pencil. But this should give enough clearance. Obviously we're going to drop the car a lot more once it's, you know, everything's settled and the motor's in there, we know the weight. But yeah, this, with this being so thin, it's going to actually let you, you know, hug the wheel a little, the tire a little more. Whether that's all the way in here, you're going to be rubbing on this part of the tire all the time. So little FYI. So either way, I'm gonna work on this side now, and I'm actually gonna do like a little time lapse on the GoPro, so you guys can check out the whole fender cutting at a different angle, you know, on this different side. We have this side here. I'm pretty much done over here. All I gotta do is the coating. Obviously the cutting of the fender. Again, look, stock fender. Look how thick it is. Very thick. Gotta do the studs, and that's pretty much it. You know, obviously just put the strut in there, but that's just literally 4 bolts. Alright, so sorry, still have my ugly goggles here, so I don't get any debris in my eyes. But here's a cut fender. As you can see, I don't want to touch it, it's still kind of hot. That's how much we took off. Just the initial start. Obviously now we clean it up, even it out with that thicker disc. I'm not even sure what it's called. What is it? I gotta look for it. So it's just that wearing down disc that you use to sand down stuff on the grinder. Obviously I remove the tape and we get rid of all this you know, shreds and stuff. But obviously, you know, you smooth it out that you can actually just put your hand there if you want to. But so you can see that's what it looks like with the tape. I'm gonna remove the tape and I'll smooth it out, and I'll show you guys once it's done. All right, so as you can see here, I did all the grinding. Did all the grinding, took the tape off. Pretty good. Happy how it came out. Again, we're trying to look for the most clearance as possible, you know, without damaging anything. The liners, if anybody's wondering, they're still together. I know there's 2 different panels in there. They're still welded together. My fenders have been cut for about 18 years now. Never had any issues with rust or anything. I do touch it up with undercoating here now for where the seam is, and obviously we're gonna undercoat everything in here. Just, you know, I was just waiting to cut that out. I'm gonna clean it up here now, cover all the suspension parts, and give it a nice touch of the underspray stuff, and yeah, we'll go from there. Do the strut, and we're probably gonna end up closing this video here because we are done with the suspension. I believe this video is pretty deep, man. It's gotten like 40 minutes. Check it out, guys. We are done with this side. Everything's done on this side, on the driver's side, final side. Don't mind the ugly zip tie, it's just there temporary. We're gonna get some fancier clamps to hold the cable, the speed sensor, onto the actual arm. The factory one obviously just doesn't go over the aftermarket arm. But yeah, overall came out pretty good. Gonna go ahead and put the wheel on, bring the side down, and that's it. We are done with the suspension, and that is a big step, man, because we did everything on this car. All the arms I have, this is the most suspension I've ever done on a Supra, to be honest. All right, guys, this is a long video. I'm gonna close it out here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching and keeping up with the 1200 horsepower Supra build. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and guys, if you have any questions, comments down below, DM me on IG, whatever you want, guys, I'm available. Thank you guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.